I remember reading you mentioning about the subtle suicide.
Yes.
What was that about? And was it because, you were so consumed with this religious world? Was that part of it why you felt like you were, you know, going through this subtle suicide?
Yeah. I, I experienced one of my children actually trying to commit suicide after we left the
Okay.
church. My mom passed away in July 2021. Well, in November 2021, one of my girls was just distraught. My mom was everything for her.
Right.
She was her
Right.
creativity, inspiration, her best friend. And so when my daughter attempted suicide, I learned a lot from that. And when I had to look at what was going on with her, because we always look at someone and go like, what would bring you to the point of taking your life? And I had to, in my own healing, look in the mirror and say, she learned that from you. She learned to silence herself by how much you've silenced yourself, how much you've suppressed yourself, your desires, your needs. My daughters watched me live in a home where I was a married single mom. And my voice was,
Okay. Married single mom.
you've got the mirror, you've got the marriage
Yeah.
papers, but doing everything in the home as if you're single, taking care of babies. At one time, I had my two youngest were breastfeeding at the same time, and changing diapers and going outside and taking the older ones outside and, washing clothes, folding them, cooking, making sure it's clean afterwards. And why isn't things in the living room picked up? Like literally, that was the atmosphere. And so my daughters for years watched me do what I was conditioned to do, die to self. And so even when I would get angry, I would suppress that and say,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to wash these dishes. I'm going to be a good wife. I literally would be washing dishes, praying in tongues to
Wow.
keep the anger down, because the anger for me meant something's wrong with me. I should want to do this. I'm a virtuous woman, right? So my daughter watched me, all of my girls watched me do that for years. And so I couldn't point finger at my daughter and say, what's wrong with you? No, she watched me die many days.
Mm.
She watched me see her dad sit on video games for hours and me get upset but not say anything and continue on. She saw me doing it. And so when I looked at that, I said, you know what? That was subtle suicide. It's subtle because
It
people
really
don't call it
was.
out like, you're on a destructive path. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Hmm.
not only was I doing it in the home, I was also doing it with my parents at the church. And so they literally witnessed their mom committing suicide over and over and over again. And so why would I be surprised that that was what was going on with her?